As you guys know, Fundación Parguay is an organization that's been around for the last 32 years. What they specialize in is partnering with organizations throughout the world in different countries and cities and states to help them in solving the poverty problem in their local area. They do this through, as I said, partnering with organizations as well as identifying specific key indicators that represent the struggles that the people in poverty are suffering through in those local areas. I want to introduce you to the area that we are actually working with. You guys might have seen it. If not, this is what it looks like. That is not the area, and it did not have an app. There we go. Might look familiar for some of you haven't heard of it. And you missed the part where it stars Bob Saget. He's one of our partners. And so, yeah, that's Fundación Parguay.
Okay, so just going over some of the poverty statistics of San Francisco. As you can see right here in this graph, the poverty rate actually isn't as high as you might have expected for San Francisco. But when we dug in a little bit further and really started doing a lot more research, we found out that the statistics are a bit skewed because San Francisco has such a wide range of wealth distribution. We've got really, really wealthy people and really, really poor people. So these are some of the categories of the stoplight, the poverty indicators that we wanted to focus on. So first was income. Within the Tenderloin area of San Francisco, which is one specific part, 50.6% of the population is living in poverty. As far as housing, there's a 9-month wait list for temporary shelter in the Bay Area, as well as somebody working full-time at minimum wage after they've paid their rent only has 27% of their income left for other needs. Health, 23.1% of the impoverished people don't have any health insurance. And then as far as education goes, 30% of single mother homes are living in poverty. This is due to a lack of education that the mothers have to then support their children. So moving on to the organizations that we wanted to partner with.
Okay, so one organization that we thought of is Walmart. They already do a lot of things. They're a global company, and they already have things in place. And that what their foundation that they work on is called the Walmart Foundation, and they mesh very well with Foundation Parguay. That they're focus on strengthening communities. Right, when they go into community, they employ tons of people. So especially there's not as many in the Bay Area, but they still employ a lot of people, and they have a lot of things in place for their associates. They offer education scholarships so that they can go to school. As well as they have a $4.5 million program that helps teachers buy back to school materials. So again, if you're making billions of dollars, millions of dollars is not very much. And then in 2014, they made several generous donations to seven Bay Area nonprofits. So they're already helping the organizations out. And then in 2016, they awarded 1.6 million grants to undeserved veterans in Texas and California. And so we thought that they'd be a great organization to donate cash. Walmart is an organization that they're willing to donate cash and that they have the means to do so. And especially since their e-commerce division is in San Francisco. So they have an invested interest. But we found as Walmart, it's a very top organization, very deep. And so getting people to respond in a timely manner and make a decision was very difficult. And so we're still waiting for them to see if they want to donate to Foundation Parguay. We think that it would go a long way if Foundation Parguay actually reached out to them, because again, I'm going to Walmart full time, but that doesn't mean that I have as much pull. So the second organization that we have.
Okay, so the second organization we are interested in partnering with is EARN, which stands for Earned Assets Resource Network. They started in San Francisco back in 2001, and they operate through other nonprofit organizations in 24 states. And they have become the nation's leading micro savings provider. And their mission is to help families in poverty break that cycle of poverty by helping them save, and so that they can earn money for housing, higher education or starting a small business. And so their program that is very helpful for people that are living in poverty is their Saving Starters program, which allows individuals to save up to $2,000, and for every dollar saved, they can earn a 2-for-1 match, earning a potential of $6,000, which can be used to help them afford a home or like start a business, and then even afford health insurance.
Yeah, the third organization is Coleman Advocates for Children and Youth, and what they do is their main mission is to build education equity. What is education equity? That is the strengthening of education for children, no matter the background. Essentially, making education accessible to all people. So they've done some really amazing things. They've been around for 40 years. They've raised almost $600 million from schools, or from like school systems to do the things that they need to do. And essentially, one of their biggest things they do is they go directly to the students and tell them, kind of teach them about the problems of the school system, so the students can kind of act for themselves along with their parents. So we have a video of just one problem that's kind of difficult. It's been difficult for them.
Study found that blacks in homes represent about 8.
On the wall.
18% of the children in preschool programs in schools all across the country. This is from the Department of Education. But with that being said, they also are almost half of the preschool students suspended more than any others, the report said.
The reality is that millions of students of color, especially males, and students with disabilities across the country are subjected to exclusionary disciplinary practices that fracture their education, obstruct further educational and employment opportunity, and ultimately steer them, at least indirectly, into the criminal justice system.
Not too many of them end up graduating high school.
When young people are treated like criminals inside schools already, where they're a threat, they walk in the door, take your hat off, put that away, what are you doing? Get away from there, put that down. That kind of institutionalization in the school then leads to a certain level of interaction with institutions and experience with institutions outside of school. So that you walk outside and you're like, well, I already know that people see me as a threat and treat me as a threat, so maybe that's just what I am. We know that.
So pretty much, like, the problem is the school systems are kind of suspending kids for, like, they're just over suspending kids, and over 75% of the kids that are suspended are African American and Latinos, and clearly that's just not acceptable. And so what Coleman did is they kind of pushed for, they started a campaign called Solutions Over Suspensions, and what they did is essentially they went spread the word about this problem and end up getting to the Board of Education. Board of Education passed a kind of a reform called the Safe and Supportive Schools resolution, which essentially prohibits teachers from just suspending kids for just any small reason, and to also use suspension as a last resort for punishment. So that's just one of the examples of things that that Coleman has done, and clearly they're a great fit for Fundação Parguay, because they have this it's their top priority to help children with education.
Perfect. So just to recap, the key poverty stoplight indicators that we believe Fundação Parguay should focus on when going into San Francisco is income, housing, health, and education. And the three organizations that we have determined that would be best to partner with, just these few, would be EARN, which would help people in the area learning how to save and prepare prepared to purchase a home or find stable housing, start a business. Also, Walmart, which would be able to provide cash needs to these organizations to assist them in their goals. And then Coleman Advocates for Children and Youth, which would help with the education problem in San Francisco. We believe that as Fundación Parguay exercises these suggestions, that they would have an effect on San Francisco, and we hope they do.
So, okay, I was just wondering about Coleman Advocates because I also think suspension is the dumbest idea ever.
Yeah.
I was just curious, what are some of their solutions before suspending? Do you guys? did you
So
look into
they,
that?
one of them was like positive behavior intervention. From what I'm guessing, it's probably has to do with like more positive rewarding than negative rewarding. But that's a good question. I actually don't know like the other things that they're doing. I just know that like they're just trying to like stop teachers from easily suspending kids because obviously it's not a good idea to essentially punish kids by taking away education.
Well, and going off of that, what they specifically do is encourage the community to then advocate for these kinds of rights and things. Rather than coming up with the solutions themselves, they advocate for the schools and the children to come up with the solutions. So it's not like specifically they're the ones coming up.
So Walmart's a pretty big corporation. Did they work in like localized areas
Yeah.
to be able to support that, so they're not like talking to Bentonville?
Well, you have to go through headquarters,
Okay.
and then you have to go to the store. So like when I interned there this past summer, like we had a whole day where we were paid to give service to the community, and like we went to like 4 different organizations, like DI over there, like all these different things to help the community. And so that's what they kind of do, but it's like on an individual basis. At first, you have to come to headquarters, like give the money to get that go, and then it has to flow down. Like I said, it's a very top organization. So.
I was actually going to ask about that. Have you guys been in contact with them and they've expressed interest in doing it? They're figuring it out whether or not they're
Yeah.
doing that?
Yeah.
How did you get in? I guess you had your connections there.
Yeah, I have my connections.
Okay,
So.
cool.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next group.